So this is getting near the end of a 10-minute run in Cinebench, and I just wanted to kind of check this and see. First of all, it's running very, very well. It's closer to a Threadripper than obviously any of its predecessors or current. It's a 9700X. Anyway, we're looking at the coolant temp there. Coolant temp is, I mean, at the most 35.6 C, so very, very comfortable. That's the GPU temp. We're going to test the GPU in just a few minutes, but my goal here is to take this AIO out and replace it with a tower cooler and some fans. So the test has finished its run for the CPU. Looks pretty good. Can't complain too much there. Coolant temp, the most we had was almost 36 C. We're going to go ahead and run the GPU test, but the overall end goal is just to try to rearrange some of this. I want to put the tower cooler in there, rearrange these fans, just get the AIO out. It's not that the AIO, it's not that the all-in-one is doing a bad job. I think it's time to pull it out of there. I'd rather have the tower cooler, and I want to see if I can't increase the flow at all, the airflow, and if it will make any difference whatsoever in the performance. So, next steps. And I may have already mentioned, but yeah, for this trick, we're going to swap over to the Thermaltake Assassin, the refined SE edition. No RGB, no nothing. And we've got a set of 5 C12C fans, and we're going to just go ahead and swap those out. So, yeah, it ought to go pretty smoothly. I don't see any problems with it, but I don't know if we're going to get any difference in our cooler temps or performance, but right now it's just preference. Max is 65. We're still going, but yeah, I don't see much of a problem with the temps on either one, but that's okay. It is what it is. Like I said, it's just preference right now. Currently 63. You can see where it dips in between the tests when they start, but we're running a 10 minutes so I can get it good and soaked and try to get the maximum temp I can. Right now, that's 65. Not a bad showing, but of course it is a very, very unscientific test, but 65 was our max. Not very scientific because I have a bunch of apps open in the background. Okay, just to kind of show, yes, I did put the side panel back on when I was testing the GPU. I'm not silly enough to leave it off and hamper with airflow and stuff like that, but 65 was the highest we got on the GPU, and yeah, I would say low 40s on the CPU with the coolant temperature not getting no more than about 36. My room, the ambient temp in my room right now is about 24 Celsius. It's about 75, 76 degrees. I would say it's probably closer to 77 degrees. I just don't, being from Arizona originally, I don't care about keeping the house that cold, and I'm in an office area that used to be a garage, so it's just not going to get that cool. But it doesn't heat up that much either, because of the PC. So on to the next step. That's going to be removing everything, swapping out the fans, testing again, and seeing what's going on. It's quite possible that while we're doing this, that we might need to, I don't know, dust it down, get rid of some of that. Yep, I'm thinking it needs attention. I don't know if I'll subject you guys to that, but I got to take it outside and blow it off. If there is an improvement, it's probably not going to be because I swapped out and put a tower and rearranged the fans. It's probably just going to be because I took all the dust out. There was a bunch of dust that was built up. Yeah, you guys don't let your PCs get like I did. Anyway, on to the next part here. Making pretty good progress. We'll have it going in a few minutes. There is one small caveat that's going to be a pain in the butt though. There's stuff in the way of me being able to get to the cooler. Yeah, we're going to have to take some stuff out. No big deal. I might not actually have to get into the back to pull this off, or the brackets and all that stuff off. I think I can get to it from the front, but I did have to move some stuff out of the way to get the wires out. There's going to be a few less wires, maybe. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But yeah, so far so good. We're still going. All right, I've got the bracket on, but before I put the cooler on, I'm going to install the fans. So we're going to get that part out of the way, then put the cooler back on, then finish tidying this back up, and we'll go from there. Am I the only one that thinks that the Thermalrite paste looks like it ought to be a Noctua bottle, or a Noctua paste? Brown? You know, I'm just thinking, I think I used up my Noctua though. And what do you think I ought to do with this part? Should we leave it on? Sort of insulation? Don't at me. It's about pea-sized. It'll do just fine. And yes, I took it off. Nice and simple. One cable that gets pigtailed to the other fans. Going to the board here. One from the CPU cooler. And we're about ready to test this thing. We got something. Fan spinning. Obviously these are in opposite directions. Boom. Temps right now seem to be fine, but it did climb up a little bit. Well, I guess you could say quite a bit more than the all-in-one cooler, but that's okay. It's still very, very quiet. You can see it crawled up to 76 degrees here. I'm guessing that's a CPU. It's currently at 63. So, but performance, right about dead on. Maybe just a little bit higher for the air cooled, but we'll monitor and see what happens. Yep, looks like a very slight edge to the new configuration, but it never ramped up. It never got too loud. It stayed very, very, very quiet the entire time. And 76 degrees. Currently it's 53, but it dropped down. Yeah, not bad. And max temp 63. So about the same as it was the last time. No major problems, no major issues. Yeah, and it was, like I said, a whole lot quieter. I couldn't notice much of a difference. There's not much of a difference in performance, ever so slight, but I'll take it. So when all is said and done, this does make a pretty big difference. Not necessarily in the performance, but the noise level. I found that the all-in-one cooler, a lot of times the fans would ramp up, and obviously it was cooling. It was cooling very well, but I'll go ahead and I'll insert two clips here. These are not adjusted. This is with the lapel mic, the same distance above the case in both instances. The first one's the AIO. The second one is the regular fans, the tower. And as a matter of fact, it's going right now, and it's still just as quiet. So. Now, where this is going to make the most difference is when I'm streaming, because my PC sits on the edge of my desk, and if the fans ramp up and it gets louder, then you can eventually hear that on the mic. I don't think we'll have that problem now. In fact, a little while ago, I went ahead and tested for like an hour, just playing No Man's Sky for a while, which is usually what I stream. And it's not that it's an overly intensive game, but it does, it takes some processing power, some graphics power. So you would figure that would ramp up. It sounded just as nice and quiet as it did when it was idled. So I was very, very happy with that, very pleased with that. Like I said, the main reason I did this is because when I stream or when I'm just doing something on, just normal stuff, I don't want it to feel like it's ramping up, like what's going on? And I look and the temps are fine. So it's almost like the all-in-one cooler was definitely doing its job. And the graphics card doesn't seem to care one way or the other. Now, I might introduce another fan on the bottom just to feed cooler air into that graphics card. I did also check the filter on the bottom of the case, but because there's no airflow there was nothing on that filter, so I didn't even bother cleaning it. All the rest of the case is clean. I do have the fan on the top blowing air down. It will go across that CPU cooler, and then it goes up and out the back. So I think it's working. And I was able to verify that it was 63 degrees on the CPU under load. I had to go back and download the AMD software to do that. I don't know why it wasn't picking up on like hardware info or anything like that. And then it wasn't picking it up on MSI Afterburner either. And when I try to use GPU2, which would be the onboard graphics for
the AMD, it gave me some astronomical number about what the actual temperature was. So I knew that wasn't accurate either. But in any case, it worked out well. This worked out. I've been dreading it for a while because I figured, it's working. Why mess with it? But the more I looked at it, the more dust I saw, and the more it started. After a little bit of seeing that, you can only look at that dust for so long before you got to clean it up. And when you got to clean it up, you might as well just go ahead and make all the changes. So that's what I did. If you're considering going from an all-in-one cooler to a tower cooler, I think you're going to be just as happy either way. It's just a matter of preference. And tower coolers right now, I'll be honest with you, those Thermalright coolers, it's hard to beat something for about $20. And I know the price of all-in-one coolers have come down, but the fans and the tower cooler both cost me less than $50. So, and that's a pack of 5 fans. I'm not using 2 of them. So, like I said, I could introduce some air coming up the bottom to help the GPU out. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. In any case, it's working great for the CPU. It's very, very quiet, and I'm very happy with it so far. Those fans, Thermalright has really, for a budget-type brand, they make some pretty good stuff that's pretty quiet. I'm pretty happy with it. So if you got anything out of the video, go ahead and throw a like on it, please, if you don't mind. If you're not already subscribed, please do. That would be wonderful. Trying to hit 2,000, 3,000, and so on. If you don't mind, hit up the socials a little bit. I'm trying to stream more often on that purple channel. I'm doing it at least once a week, sometimes trying to get in twice a week. That will increase a little bit, I'm sure. But if you don't do any of those things, if you don't like, subscribe, hit the other socials or anything, just do me one favor. And I know I ask almost every single time, just be good to each other. Be kind. Doesn't cost anything to be kind. Smile, wave, hold the door open, say good morning, something, anything. And you could make somebody's day. Could even make your day. You might feel just a little bit better. Anyway, that is all I have for this time. Don't forget to check one of the other videos that might be popping up here even when we talk about it. There's plenty of stuff to do. You can see that 7700 over there back behind me. There's some stuff that I'm working on with it. I was going to see what the last remaining DDR3 combination that would have been good, say for a Linux distribution or whatever. I was going to do that with a 7700. Spoiler alert, 7700 doesn't come in DDR3 flavor. The 6000 series did. The 7000 series needs DDR4, evidently. Anyway, we'll see what's going on there. But anyway, until I get myself into something I got no business getting into, that's all I got. So I'll see you later.